Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the Exceptional Conservative Show, the most influential urban conservative talk show in the world. We're not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the socialist. When I wish upon a star, or at least when you wish upon a star, we don't know how far it is or whatever. Something about Disney. Oh, this is what we learned about Disney today. They knew about the terrorists and warned the FBI. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. Who knew? Apparently Disney knew, and so did the FBI. We'll have more on that in a few moments. Also want to talk about Obama, Hillary, Trump, and McConnell. They want Americans to submit to gun control. Yes, the Republicans are talking gun control. How about that? What are you prepared to do? Janis Hall of the J Hall War Report will be joining us tonight at 9:40 p.m. We'll be talking about the future of Britain and centralized Europe. North Korea hacking South Korea. And a rape Qatar woman imprisoned for sex outside of wedlock. Wow. Second half, just as big. Tonight, we release the Kraken. DC GOP Vice Chairman Ralph J. Chittams Sr. joins us to discuss how FBI investigations gives a candidate street cred in DC elections. I lie to you not. Shannon Wright takes center stage. We'll talk about the budget impasse in Baltimore. And that citizens must choose between the mayor and the city council. I don't think either one of them seems to be a very good pick. Glad to have you here again tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, there is so much joy in our hearts tonight. Love you, Mary. Mary Brockman, my bouncer, is in the chat room tonight. And this is Sackheads Radio Night, of course. Wednesday night is Sackheads Radio Night around the world. And Sackhead Shaw, Sackhead Clint, Free Sacco. They will be live at 11 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. Check them out at SHR Media and as well on High Plains Pundit Media. We want to get the show started first. Let me do this. Take off your hats, everybody. I know I need a haircut here. Take off your hats, everybody. And let us pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
Ready, begin. I allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Woo! That's what I'm talking about, people. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show. We are live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. At every opportunity that we come live to you, helicopters are all over the city. So I just want you to know that's just the way it is. Dave Milner is in the chat room tonight. God bless you, Dave. Good to have you here. Dave has a 12-minute show that he made this week. You can find it on SHR Media, Sackheads Radio Media. And we want to say this real quick because we're going to have to go to a quick break. I am moving next week officially to a timing schedule for my show. And the reason is, it's a good reason. I'm going to have to become more disciplined. It's a good reason. We're beginning to get a lot of advertisers. That's good. That's very good. But they want their time to be heard as much as I want my time to be heard. So we got a new advertiser today. Some of you all who are on the broadcast page of the Exceptional Conservative Show, if you would scroll down, you will see get a new Unity Visa secured card and get back $25. Yes, one United Bank has begun advertising with us. And they have offices in Boston, Miami, and Los Angeles. Now, you might think, Ken, you broadcast from Washington, D.C. Why would One United Bank want to broadcast on your network? Well, because we reach out to the entire world. The entire world listens to our show, and we are number one on the Sockheads Radio media. We're one of the top shows on all of the uh, High Plains Pundit Media, Internet Conservative Radio. We're one of the top shows, and so people want to get their message out, and this is a sure way of them being able to get their advertising out to the world. So if you click on there and you use the code UGET25 from now until the end of this month, you'll get $25 back if you hold a secured card with One United Bank for more than 90 days. So there you go. And it has a very low interest rate. If you want to reestablish your credit, you want to get back into the groove that you once had before your financial distress, choose One United Bank. We'll be back in a few moments. Got to pay the bills.
From coast to coast, there is one bank focused on building a better future. One bank with programs you can trust to help boost your economic picture. One United Bank. With rates better than the national average, no hidden fees, and even cashback debit cards, you'll feel the boost in your budget. One United Bank, the premier bank for urban communities in Boston, Miami, and Los Angeles. Visit us at oneunited.com or call 877-1UNITED today. Member FDIC.
It's a love story like no other. From God's heart to yours. And for 30 years, it's been at the heart of every book, Bible, CD, gift, and resource from ChristianBook.com. Over 500,000 products, always at the very best value. ChristianBook.com. Everything Christian. Because it's our story, too.
Now, at Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. This is what we heard from Donald Trump 5 months ago. And this is pure Western journalism.
GOP frontrunner Donald Trump was a guest on Tuesday night's Hannity to discuss President Obama's executive orders that strengthen gun control laws.
Number one, before you even get into the guns, I'm totally Second Amendment and we can't be messing with it. And frankly, if we had situations in California on our military bases, and even in Paris, if they had a couple of guns in the room, you wouldn't have had 130 people killed and many, many people very, very gravely injured. And that includes California. You would have had a much different situation. But as far as the executive order, you're not supposed to be doing it with executive order. You're supposed to get the congressman, get Congress in, negotiate a deal. Everybody raises their hand. They approve the deal, and you have something. He doesn't do that. He just signs executive orders all over the place.
Mr. Trump predicted that the federal government will be sued for the president's latest executive orders.
Then he'll be sued on that. He'll be out on a golf course in about 3 years when it comes up, and probably it won't be upheld. Who knows what's going to happen? What's happening is the government is being run much differently than what our founders had in mind. I mean, he's signing executive orders on things that you're not so. This is the Second Amendment. This is a very important thing to people, and you're not supposed to just say we're making changes without having it go through a process of having other people agree with you. Well, and through a negotiation. It's unbelievable what's happening.
Do you think these executive orders will reduce gun violence? Share and comment below.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Western journalism for providing that for us. However, apparently there seems to be a new song coming from the lips of Donald Trump. Um, Donald Trump apparently says, you know, we need to take a look at this gun control thing. Maybe there is room for us to talk about curtailing access to guns. Really? Let's play that for you so people won't say that I'm lying.
Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump has a reputation of saying things that resonate as wildly unpopular with the voting population. But in the aftermath of two tragic shootings taking place in Orlando, Florida, the candidate is finally saying things that people can agree with. Trump announced this week that he plans to meet with the National Rifle Association in order to discuss limiting gun access to people suspected of terrorism and on the no-fly list. The NRA has previously endorsed Trump, so hopefully the meeting will bring about positive changes in gun reform.
That is Woke News, of course. What do we need to meet about, my friends? What do we need to meet about? It was this gentleman, the terrorist, Omar Mateen, and his wife, who knew what was going on the whole time. Even Disney knew that this guy was a terrorist. They told the FBI, he's casing the joint. Something's wrong with this guy and his wife. They're casing the joint. So somehow, and I love you, Trumpanistas. Remember Lying Ted? Lying Ted? Huh? Remember that Lying Ted thing? Huh? Yeah, he's a liar. Okay, apparently Donald Trump decides that this is a very good time to talk about gun control. I'm going to the NRA to talk about gun control, about the no-fly list, which is uniformly put together without due process. And you would think that a party that actually created the constitutional right, the 14th Amendment, called due process, would acknowledge the fact that it is a simple measure that all considerations regarding the possession of a gun be given due process. But who is to say that now when you have a no-fly zone? Who adds your name to the no-fly zone? Well, by golly, it could be just about anyone. And what we're finding out tonight from the FBI is they don't want that kind of thing. No, because there is such a thing in our country called due process. There are some very good people in America tonight who are on that no-fly list, who did nothing wrong. They just happen to have a name that seems familiar to those who are chipping to take care of the terrorists in this country. So, Katrina Pearson, Christopher Arps, and all of the rest of the Trumpanistas at this time. I don't know if Chris Arps is, but everyone who's jumped on the Trump bandwagon, remember when he started negotiating against himself after he figured out he was going to be the nominee? He instantly began negotiating. Now he believes that your Second Amendment is negotiable. Oh, it's no longer a birthright. It's no longer an observation of the power of the sovereign of God. It is something that Mitch McConnell, who came out earlier today and said he would be willing to listen to conversation about gun control. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. We know Mitch McConnell is not necessarily the greatest straight shooter in Washington, D.C. In fact, if Mitch McConnell and Harry Reid stand next to each other, you really can't tell the difference between the two, except for one talks like this. Boom, 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 boom. The other one can't see out the other patch. But the bottom line is, already, Trumpanistas, the man you call the sovereign, the one that you want to be president of the United States, is ready to negotiate your free right away from you. And it had nothing to do with Orlando. None of them can justify anything that they're talking about now happening in Orlando. Let's take a look at what happened in Orlando. A gay guy who got married to prove that he was a man, or at least to cover up the fact that he was gay, takes his wife to certain places after he has been radicalized. And I don't know about that radicalization thing, because it clearly states in the Quran that he was just doing what he was supposed to do. Like the Boston Marathon bombers. They were just doing what they were supposed to do. San Bernardino, he was just doing what he was supposed to do. Why? Because it's in the Quran. But somehow, these radical groups, or him being radicalized now, and he's conflicted with whether he wants to be gay or whether he wants to be non-gay, or he's conflicted with whether he wants to be in the women's room or the... see how important it was for Obama to focus on the bathroom issue? Orlando. So he's taking his wife around, and let me read to you, and this was broken by Carla Ray with WFTV, who, via Twitter, that Walt Disney World had contacted the FBI back in April to warn them that Mateen and his wife might have been casing the place. And in fact, Breitbart News on Monday reported that Salman told police that she was aware her husband had been scouting downtown Disney and Pulse nightclub for attacks. Unlike the 4 Disney World theme parks, downtown Disney, which has recently been renamed Disney Springs, doesn't have security and bag check before entry. My wife and I went to a Nats game on Sunday, and my wife really enjoyed it. I'm really trying to lift her spirits and to celebrate her birthday weeks, of course. Yes, weeks, not day. Weeks. We went to the game. They fell behind 4-3 in the 9th inning, and all of a sudden they came from behind and won 5-4. But before we came into the game, her bag had to be checked. Everything had to be pulled out of my wallet. I had to be checked to go into a Nationals baseball game. How is it that Walt Disney doesn't have security or even bag check at their place? And notice how Mateen and his wife were looking for the weakest links. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been told that these guys are the JV team, but they have become quite the professionals. In fact, Noor Salman was in full knowledge of the terror plot, according to NBC News. Now, of course, the FBI is not going to come out and tell you that, but the truth of the matter is she knew. How did she know? How did we know she knew? Because she was the one who drove him to the Pulse. So if someone's holding a gun in their hand and lots of ammo and kissing the baby goodbye, you know what I'm saying? You get the idea. You get the idea that something's about to go down and he's really going to start acting on what he was saying. He's already beaten you. And then we have the President of the United States and Hillary Clinton coming out earlier today and using the term radical Islam, and even more so, making very light the power of identifying your enemy. You see, your enemy identifies your weak spots, but we have a president who's so weak he can't identify his own enemy. Let me play for you Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton has reversed her position on the phrase radical Islam. In December, Hillary Clinton sided with President Obama in declining to use the phrase radical Islam. She said the phrase helped to create the illusion of a clash of civilizations that's a recruiting tool for ISIS. After the shooting in Orlando, Donald Trump savaged Clinton and said she was not fit to be president if she did not use the words. On Monday, Clinton gave an interview to CNN and said, "I have clearly said whether you call it radical jihadism or radical Islamism, I'm happy to say either," she said on CNN. "I think they mean the same thing." While talking to MSNBC, she said, "We have to defeat radical jihadist terrorism or radical Islamism, whatever you call it, it's the same."
Now, that's really, really amazing, because she didn't say that a few months ago. Somehow, all of a sudden, the man who is not fit to be president challenges her and says she's not fit to be president because she refuses to use the term that everyone else around the world is using in identifying the enemy. It's not the radical Christians that are blowing up a coffee shop or cafe in France. It's not the radical Hindu that are blowing up beaches in North Africa. It's not the radical Jews who are burning down buildings in Benghazi or in Baghdad. No, it's none of those. What we have here in the month of Ramadan are individuals who have made a commitment as early as December of last year that not one day would go by without Americans knowing what it feels like to be bombed, to be threatened, to be shot at, to be killed, not because they don't like you, but because they hate you. They despise you. You are the sworn enemy of Allah, and for that you must die. How do we know that Americans have been trained to accept Orlando as just a mass murder, not relevant in the ideals of terrorism? Well, we abort 1,800 children a day in this country. The same weekend that Orlando happened, 49 people dying, over 50 injured in Orlando. In Chicago, over 60 people were injured, 12 people killed from gun violence. Gun violence, got to use that term, gun violence. We have become cold and accepting of the fact that they're terrorists, domestic and foreign, and that we allow these terrorists to sabotage our lives, our very livelihood. How is it that Hillary Clinton would not say radical Islamists, that Barack Obama would not say radical Islamists, until a Manhattan developer forced her to, by saying that she was not credible as a presidential candidate?
About 3 months ago, my millionaire boss holed up on an isolated ranch in the South American mountains. But the thing is, he isn't some prepper. He's actually the head of the largest underground research and news network in the world.
You believe that this is radical Islamism or radical Islamic terror. Will you use those words, and if not, why?
Well, first of all, from my perspective, it matters what we do more than what we say, and it mattered we got bin Laden, not what name we called him. And I have clearly said that we face terrorist enemies who use Islam to justify slaughtering innocent people. And, you know, whether you call it radical jihadism, radical Islamism, I think they mean the same thing. I'm happy to say either. But what I won't do, because I think it is dangerous for our efforts to defeat this threat, is to demonize and demagogue and, declare war on an entire religion.
So we don't want to declare war on an entire religion, do we, Hillary? But amazingly, so many within that religion don't mind declaring war on the Americas, in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, in the Middle East. Wow, and what religion do they belong to? It's kind of like saying that everyone at the Walmart that works there are not employees. So we're not going to say that they are Walmart employees. What we will say is that they happen to be retail workers. What's really silly here is not what we call our enemy, as well we should identify them. It's what we do with our enemy. We leave it to a president who's so weak as to praise him and lift him high as someone who has a mental illness per se, or has perverted Islam. And then in the same press conference, we vehemently chastise Americans for observing their right to bear arms. With silly men, with silly games, and too many lives lost as a result. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be speaking with none other than the great Janis Hall, J Hall World Report. This is a huge night. Joseph Jersey Joe, glad to have you here, sir. Love you, man. Listen, we'll be right back. And Mrs. Biggs, I love you. Thank you so much for watching via Ustream and live stream. We are live from Washington, D.C. It is the Exceptional Conservative Show, and we are the most influential urban conservative talk show in the world.
Have you heard the news? There's more to Prime than free. 2-day shipping on shoes. There are tons of movies ready to stream. It's like living in a film lover's dream. More to Prime. More to Prime.
I want to join. How much should I pay?
You can sign up for a free trial today. So let's sing it one more time. There's more to Prime.
Hi, my name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of Infused Restaurant, and today I'm gonna walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. So we're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage. I cook here and slice it up. Our pizza dough is in-house made. Our pizza sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh ingredients. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and the Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. Now, we're going to prepare our famous blackened tilapia and grits, our fish and grits on the menu. And our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused beef burgers. We kick the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce. We start off with 80-20 USDA round chuck ham patty burgers, like half a pound of burgers, and we're going to grill it to perfection. After I put the burgers, we add the sauce, and let it cook on into the meat just a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of pepper jack cheese to this burger to spice it up a bit.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. 301-449-9000. That's Infused Restaurant. Infused Restaurant is located at 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland, 20748. We will be there this weekend. Mrs. Biggs and I, we are going to have a very good time. We hope that you join us. We hope that you enjoy the great food. I'm talking about fistful. That's the hamburger, man. That's the hamburger. Size of my head. Really. Bacon, double burger. Absolutely wonderful. Join us at Infused Restaurant, 6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland, 20748. Also, join us for Freedom Fest.
Well, welcome to Freedom Fest 2015. I think this is the best Freedom Fest we've ever put together.
Freedom Fest is truly international. There's people from all over the world that come to Freedom Fest, not just to talk, but also to participate in dialogue, participate in the panels, to participate in the audience.
So hold your breath, lock your seatbelts. I hope you're at your Wheaties today.
We are enslaved by government mandates. What light bulb you can buy, what car you can drive, how you heat and cool your home, to what health insurance.
Europe actually has allowed itself to be held hostage of this entire Greek situation.
They have the courage to debate. You have debates on foreign policy, on taxes, on what's going on in the world, on how to invest and how to run your own life.
Here's an example of restaurants. Don't open a restaurant because it's so competitive you'll never make any money. Really? I mean, been to Chipotle lately? How many believe that Peter Thiel won the argument competition is overrated in America? And how many favor John Mackey's response?
So here's the moment many of you have been waiting for, myself included, and I think it's the reason why this room is completely packed all the way to the back as far as I can see.
I think I worked about 8 years to put together this debate.
I have to say, it's really kind of depressing to see people holding up the Reagan story, which is so obviously different if you pay any attention to the story, as that's the best argument, really? That's the best argument?
The middle class and the poor are the people you say you care most about, are the people who've been hurt the most by these policies because they've had no income growth at all.
Thank you. They already left 2 waters for me. I'll probably only need 1. So I appreciate it.
In America today, higher education is controlled by a cartel. And they say, oh, let's take out a loan and pay for this. And no one bothers to tell them that the market for Greek philosophers has been tight for 2,000 years.
So in terms of its 2 major policy objectives, stable prices in a stable economy, the Fed has clearly failed.
And if the Federal Reserve actually did the right thing, the market would crash.
Every country in the world has a lower corporate tax rate than us. Can we fix that?
This, in my view, is the premier libertarian event in the country.
You probably meet the largest cross-section of philosophically based groups of any conference anywhere in the world.
Some of the smartest people in our country come together here to discuss the ideas and challenges. This is an engaged group of individuals.
This is all about mind. It's not about how fancy you are.
Feisty discussions, interesting people to meet.
I love it. This is my first time doing anything like this.
It's the only place you get this many people who agree with me. Nobody, I live in New York. Nobody agrees with me.
You know, war is not the health of the state. War is the death of liberty and freedom. And that's a mentality that is particularly strong in the Republican Party, but it's also strong in the Democratic Party.
I want the government to be this small. I want the individuals to be this big.
We are people when we are at our greatest that we lead by example. We don't jam it down anybody's throat. We don't force them to live our way. We don't nation build.
Very interesting. There's a lot of variety of stuff. Really a lot.
Hear ye, hear ye. Freedom Fest Court is now in session.
We are gathered here in this great sovereign state of Nevada to decide the fate of the country's central bank, the Federal Reserve.
Please place your hand on this edition of Forbes 400 Richest.
There was a bubble in many markets, and that is simply mathematically impossible without the Fed creating the money to make it happen.
The Fed is guilty, 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 guilty. Court is now adjourned.
2000. I'm the founding director of the Anthem Film Festival.
And we are in our 5th year. We started in a little room on the 26th floor at Bally's, and now we've grown to huge numbers. In fact, we have a fabulous lineup of shorts.
Police officer can wear a body camera, but you as a citizen may not have access to that footage.
Live from Las Vegas.
We recognize that Freedom Fest is a big tent.
Well, I happen to like Rand Paul. I really do. By the way, in some cases, they'll build a new hospital for $1.5 billion. You could build 7 hospitals, 10 hospitals for that if you knew what you were doing.
We had almost 300 speakers.
Without a doubt, our most successful Freedom Fest ever.
I just adore the experience. It's like a saturation of the senses, a saturation of the mind. I learned so much. I come home with way too many books. I adore Freedom Fest. I'm definitely coming back again next year.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you're doing, but you should be planning to go to Freedom Fest July 13th through the 16th. Las Vegas, Planet Hollywood. My wife and I, we're already secure. We're going to have a great time. We hope that you join us at Freedom Fest. FreedomFest.com. 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 George Foreman, keynote speaker. Be there for that. Ladies and gentlemen, she was rudely interrupted by technology last night, but she won't be tonight. She can't be held down. She can't be suppressed. She's none other than the lovely, the beautiful Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report redo. Good evening, Janis.
Hello.
How you doing? Is this much better?
Hopefully this will work better.
Exactly. Listen, lots of big news happening. Want to talk with you about Orlando. And of course, we all send our condolences. We send our love and affection and our prayers. But this is probably the biggest terrorist action against America since 9/11, 2008. Your thoughts?
Well,
I'm sorry, 2012. Forgive me. 2012. Forgive me.
I mean, it basically is the biggest terrorist attack we've seen in a really, really long time. 50 people died. Another 50 plus were injured. And it was definitely, without doubt, done in the name of radical Islam. And I know that there's a lot of people talking about, oh, well, did this person actually have any contact with ISIS? Maybe he was himself gay. I don't even really quite understand why those topics would even be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he very clearly did this on behalf of radical Islam and jihad. So everything else really, doesn't really matter what his secret motivations were. The point is, he was there to create terror and conduct a jihad. So,
yes.
Look at it this way: how many mass murders of gays has there been by gays who are frustrated? I really can't think of any.
I know you're so serious, but it's laughable to think of it, that people would actually go to the level of deflection that has happened in the past 72 hours, especially once they found out that the person who did it was gay. But his wife also was involved in this, and they all have ties to a radical, and that's their father. Well, her father-in-law, his father. This is not a new thing for them or this family, right?
Not really. I mean, yeah, clearly the wife seems to have played some role. She seems to have known what was going on and didn't do anything. And I think, they're now trying to bring some charges against her, and they should. Listening to some of the comments that the shooter's dad said also were disconcerting. He seemed to be implying that his son, when he saw two men kissing, just went off the deep end and had to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it seems to have been said, and maybe I'm taking this out of context, but the way it sounds is like, oh yeah, he was just so incensed, and rightfully so.
It's remarkable that men could be so cruel and heartless at this particular time period. But that's what propaganda is all about. Is that right?
Well, yes. Here's the thing. It's not. It isn't unbelievable that men can be cruel and heartless.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we kind of tell ourselves, oh, this just isn't possible, and don't acknowledge that the world is full of bad things and good things, but also bad things.
Yeah.
And not acknowledging the bad things doesn't make them go away. It just allows you to not deal with them and potentially not fix them.
I think that's the best comment I've heard regarding this situation in radical Islam. Not calling it means that we have the opportunity not to deal with it and not to fix it. And
right.
That's what this administration has been practicing. This is what the left has been practicing since the bombing of the coal. There is always this, if we would just get them jobs, if we would give them more money, if we would not own guns, then we wouldn't provoke people. But these people have a agenda. They are adamant about it, and they won't stop until they finish the job.
No, they won't. I mean, look at Bin Laden. He had plenty of money, and he was a terrorist. If we ban guns, I really don't see how that's going to be very effective. That didn't stop the shooters in France, as well as, just our borders. If we don't have guns here, you can just go to Mexico and bring them over. It's not like we have border security. So just stopping guns and ruling out guns is not an effective solution.
Exactly. Now, not a lot of press is being given to the story in France regarding the police being killed there at the hands of another terrorist. In fact, I have not heard CNN or any of the others talk about this particular thing during this time period. But what do you know regarding the French police situation? And should we be covering that story?
We probably should, and we will. So essentially, while this, terribleness was happening in Florida, get another incident of terrorism where a man broke into a police commissioner's house and killed him and his girlfriend. And disturbingly, apparently debated whether or not to kill their 3-year-old child.
Wow.
And he was eventually shot and killed by police, but these things keep happening.
Exactly.
And they're going to keep happening unless we actually address the root of the problem.
Now, do you believe that Donald Trump coming out today and saying that we need to negotiate with NRA to fight for gun control, is that going to help us in this terrorist action or the terrorist actions that are going on and have been promised throughout the course of Ramadan?
So there's two things that I want to say on this.
Mm-hmm.
One, as I said before, just having more gun control is not going to stop terrorism logistically. Terrorists are essentially hell-bent on causing destruction and death, and they will do that by any means that they can. And just, limiting one thing like guns isn't going to, stop anything. I mean, we outlaw bombs, yet people still use them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that aspect. And two, it is not our responsibility to give up freedoms to, have security from people abroad who are trying to kill us.
Exactly.
Or even people who are here who are trying to kill us. That is, just something that I think is just, we should not be standing for. We shouldn't have to give up our freedoms because people out there want to kill us, do us harm.
Exactly.
We should be getting rid of them, not getting rid of our freedoms.
That is so well said. You are so on point tonight. I'm enjoying listening to you. We're talking with Janis Hall, J Hall World Report, who I love coming on every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You're getting a great taste of her wisdom and her skill set regarding world affairs. I want to talk with you real quick because I don't want to run out of time. Apparently, there's been this move in Europe, and that move is one that Britain needs to stay within the European Union. And apparently, there are some people in Britain that don't feel that way. Can you give us an update on the Brexit vote?
Yeah, so we are close to a week away. It's going to happen on the 23rd. And it's looking like polls are saying that Britain might actually leave the EU. I think it makes me happy. Within the last couple weeks, the polls have, before that, the polls have been very consistently showing that Britain's favored to stay in the EU, but in the last couple weeks, as we're getting closer to the election, it looks like people are opting to leave. So I think that if that trend continues, I think that they might actually leave, and I honestly think that they should. I think that countries should have control of their own economy and politics and not cede it over to another entity.
Now, this would be a slap in the face to Cameron, the Prime Minister of England, Britain, however we wish to say it. It would be a slap in the face to the President of the United States, who went over there and basically promoted Britain remaining in the European Union. And then we get the news today that the chairman or chairwoman of the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, says that they cannot raise interest rates, simply because they believe that Britain is about to leave the Brexit, and that might cause instability in the market next week.
Yes.
Is this all a sign that this is a good?
Realistically, it is probably going to cause some instability. Nobody knows quite how the Brexit would work. That said, pretty sure it's not going to be anywhere near the ridiculous that we see with Greece whenever they can't pay their bills.
Thank you.
So there's that, and I must confess I don't feel too bad about Obama or Cameron. Be slapped in the face.
What, you're not tearing up over this? This is not a sad day.
I'm surprisingly not.
Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report. Listen, in finality, I give you great kudos because you were following the Chinese story about the impending Southeast Asia crisis. And now I think we have reached Southeast Asian crisis because China is not stopping building its islands and fitting them with war technology. And North Korea has recently said that they will continue attempting to hack into South Korea and destroying its electrical and utilities. Utilities, electrical grid, and everything else. Have we amped up here in Southeast Asia while the Obama administration has given great platitudes to China?
I mean, definitely we have. Yeah, China continues to build islands, and China continues to put military bases on those islands that they have built, extending their power into a region that they shouldn't have. And we essentially are doing nothing to stop it. So, of course, naturally, they're going to continue to do it. Why wouldn't they? And then as for North Korea, North and South Korea, as everyone knows, don't like each other. And the North essentially, wants to destroy South Korea. And it realizes it can't do so directly, but it is certainly looking at other ways that it can hurt South Korea. And one of them clearly is hacking. Another way is, essentially making their nuclear arsenal, which even if they didn't use on South Korea, still poses a huge, deterrent. So, yeah, I mean, whatever way North Korea can think of or can, has the ability to do to interrupt life in South Korea, they will do so.
We're with Janis Hall, J Hall World Report. Final question for you. This is an exit question. We only have 6 more months of the Obama presidency. Does the rest of the world know that, and are they reacting accordingly?
Probably. I think that, clearly China is being relatively aggressive in the South China Sea. Russia continues to be very stalwart and continuing its plan of at least not, acquiescing to anything in the West. Europe's getting a little contentious. We're seeing NATO putting, some more troops, in Eastern Europe, and we're seeing the Russians doing generally the same. And while I don't necessarily think that anything is going to happen, it's not a place I think that we should be.
It's not. It's not at all. Oh, my God. We have been together for almost 3 years now, and we have watched this Obama administration fall to pieces on foreign policy. And the rest of the world is really, really beginning to take advantage of it. How sad. We just got 6 more months. Hopefully we'll survive. Janis Hall, Janis Hall of the J Hall World Report. You can hear her on Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Janis, we love you. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we are doing. We're getting bigger. We're getting better. It's one of the faults of success. We're being heard on conservative radio network at 2 a.m. Hopefully you all stay up and hear that. We also are heard on High Plains Pundit Media with Dan the Man Butcher, one of the top shows. And of course, #1 show on Sackheads Radio nightly is the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from Washington, D.C. When we come back, my very, very good friend, Ralph Chittams. Yes, we're going to release the Kraken, and also waiting in the wings, Shannon Wright takes center stage. It's a big show tonight, and it's all right before Sackheads night. 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Be there.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe. Hood Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
I was in need of some advice from a lawyer, but I found this site and it saves me a fortune. Law Depot lets you easily customize legal documents. More than 2 million people have used Law Depot to create over 4 million legal documents and save over $1 billion in legal fees. Whether you are interested in protecting your estate, managing a rental property, setting up a business, or any other situation requiring legal forms, Law Depot's extensive library of documents and legal resources are able to assist you with all your legal needs. You get customized legal documents at a fraction of the price it would cost through a traditional lawyer. Quality legal documents since 2001. Click the link below.
From day's first light to night's last glimmer, your satisfaction is our responsibility. On the range or in the field of duty, you can rely on Brownell's lifetime guaranteed gun parts, tools, and supplies. Anytime, any place. It's how we've done business since 1939. Brownell's.
So what do you think about ebooks? Maybe you've never read an ebook before, but you're considering giving it a try. Or maybe you've been reluctant to try ebooks because you don't want to buy another expensive electronic device. Or maybe you already enjoy ebooks, but you haven't been able to find titles from your favorite Christian authors. Whatever your situation, ChristianBook.com has the solution. Your trusted source for print books for over 30 years now offers ebooks. Our always free CBD reader allows you to read on the devices you already own without spending money on a new device. Thousands of Christian ebooks at ChristianBook.com means you can shop with confidence and choose from the titles you want. Plus, we're adding new titles all the time. Browse our huge selection of low-priced Christian ebooks the same way you would printed books, only now you can go from shopping to reading in seconds. Simply select the ebook you wish to purchase, confirm your account information, and start reading. Free samples of every ebook are available, so you can preview the book first, before you buy it. Plus, there's no lengthy app downloads and updates. Accessing the CBD Reader is as easy as going to cbdreader.christianbook.com and bookmarking the page. The CBD Reader holds your ebooks and bookmarks for you, no matter what device you're on. So, you can take your entire ebook library wherever you go and pick up right where you left off. Our customizable options make it possible to read your ebooks in different font sizes and styles. Want a large print version? You've got it in seconds with a simple click of the mouse. Already own a dedicated e-reader? Download your ebooks to your computer from your ChristianBook.com account and transfer them to your device. Try ebooks at ChristianBook.com and start reading your favorite books in seconds. Easy, economical, everywhere you want to read. Welcome to ChristianBook.com ebooks.
From coast to coast, there is one bank focused on building a better future. One bank with programs you can trust to help boost your economic picture. One United Bank. With rates better than the national average, no hidden fees, and even cashback debit cards, you'll feel the boost in your budget. One United Bank, the premier bank for urban communities in Boston, Miami, and Los Angeles. Visit us at oneunited.com or call 877-1UNITED today. Member FDIC.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a tremendous honor that every Wednesday night we have a man of great faith with intrepid desire, the ability to split the atoms with his very words, to sincerely change the fate of mankind simply by showing up on a show with Roland Martin and his mascot. Without further ado, kids, as you're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital, I want to introduce the senator and present to others a man, but also a divinity unto himself. He's the Kraken, people, and we're about to release him. Ralph J. Chittams. 1 Ricky Dingy, 2 Ringy Dingies, 3 Ringy Dingies. Contacting the Ralph man. Maybe he's been hanging out with Vince Gray. We don't know. We release the Kraken, Ralph J. Chittams Sr. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Exceptional. I'm going to have to come up with an intro like that. I'm going to have to figure out, like a better intro, Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Oh, it's superheroes from Washington, D.C.
I was inspired, man. I was inspired. Listen, are you going under FBI investigation? Because it will give you street cred.
I certainly hope not. I don't need that kind of street cred. That's ridiculous. But hey, DC politics is DC politics. What this election proves is that Muriel Bowser better watch her back in 2 years when Vince Gray runs against her for mayor.
There you go. Because that's the ball game. That's the plan. I mean,
anybody who doesn't see this setup is a moron. I mean, look at what Vince did. He ran for the Ward 7 council seat. He didn't finish that term because 2 years into that term, he ran for chairman of the D.C. Council. He didn't finish that term because 2 years into that term, he ran for mayor. And then he held the mayor's seat for a term, and then he lost to Muriel because of the shenanigans brought about by the Attorney General with the investigation, insinuating that an indictment was imminent. And then here we are, all these years later, and no indictment has come up. Oh, trust and believe Vince is going to run for mayor in 2 years, and he's going to treat the citizens of Ward 7 just like he did all those years ago, like a dime store hooker. He's going to kick us to the curb.
So you really think we're valued at a dime still?
So what that means is those of us in Ward 7 who have any sort of brains, we need to find the candidate that we're going to rally around and promote and have that person start running for the Ward 7 council seat now for the next 2 years, so that when Vince decides he wants to ditch us again and run for mayor, we'll have somebody with some brains sitting in the wings waiting to take over.
Now, and we're talking with none other than the Kraken tonight, the good doc himself, Ralph J. Chittams. We're talking about the fact that Vincent Gray followed in the footsteps of Marion Barry, who was under FBI investigation, lost his mayoralship, went to prison, came back. Well, at least Vince didn't have to go to prison. He came back, ran for city council, Ward 8, and won it. And I believe he ran for mayor again and won that. So it just seems to be a growing tide that you have electoral cred if you're investigated by the FBI. And if you're going to run any place, then you need to run east of the river because they'll just vote for you anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, the folks east of the river have this crazy redemption idea. That, all you have to do is claim the white man was out to get you, and all of a sudden you get street cred, and it helps if you've been the subject of an attorney general's investigation and all the rest of that garbage. because you get street cred. It's nonsense. There's no way in the world either Vincent Gray or Yvette Alexander should have won that election.
But that gives us the point where there is a great hole in statesmanship in Ward 7 and 8, and also in Ward 5, to be honest. Simply put, those are the areas with the greatest needs and the fewest amount of people actually voting. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Ward 8, 5, and 7 were the three lowest voting wards in the city. And I don't think any of those three wards topped 17% as far as voter turnout. I'm working from memory because I look at the numbers late last night.
Yeah.
And I think 17%.
Exactly. And we talked about it on our show last night that only 21% of the eligible voting public actually showed up to vote. We're not talking. We're not talking about this being some landslide, victories here. This is really paupers elections. There's not a lot of people voting.
Right, but also consider the fact that the D.C. primary was the last in the nation primary. The very last primary in the country was in the District of Columbia. We had absolutely no impact on the presidential preference primary, absolutely none. And so the only thing that people had to vote on were the down ballot tickets. And honestly, people don't show up for down ballot elections.
Exactly. Now, I want to bring up Ward 8 because this is how you know that Vincent Gray does not plan on being a statesman for Ward 7 very long. Over the weekend, he and his minions got together and started making phone calls for a certain other person. Who was that person?
Oh, of course, the person was Trayon White. And not only that, but he gave Trayon White's campaign money. Now, see, this is all payback. Muriel Bowser lost 3 of her 4 primary supporters in this election cycle. Her support on the D.C. Council has been eviscerated. So her whatever legislative agenda she hopes to push is dead. Now, the only hope that she has is those people who lost the primaries still keep their seats until January.
Yeah.
So they may actually put on a full court press and try to just, do a blitzkrieg of legislation between now and the end of the year just so Muriel can fulfill her legislative wish list. And that's what we need to be afraid of and be watchful for.
Wow. Now, one other quick thing. Lest it be said, public safety was a huge factor in Ward 7 and 8 because I heard individuals saying that things haven't gotten any better with certain people in office, and it didn't help that people were dying at bus stops on a broad daylight day or whatever. How impactful was public safety in this election for Ward 7 and 8?
Well, I haven't done any, personal polling, and I haven't seen, any data, so all I can speak on it from is an anecdotal perspective. But I think it was a serious issue. I mean, I just came to my house tonight, and literally just down the street from where I live, it looks like a war zone.
Wow.
Police, fire, EMS, ambulances. I mean, literally, it looks like a war zone at the intersection of Minnesota and Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast. And now this isn't a one-off. This has been happening over here since Yvette has been in office, and it's been escalating since Yvette has been in office. And they have come up with absolutely zero strategies to try to combat this. Now, trust me, I don't expect Vince Gray to do any better.
Exactly. We're just changing chairs on the Love Boat here.
No. So we're not changing chairs on the Love Boat. we're changing chairs on the Titanic. It is going down.
That's why they call him the Kraken. That's right. That's why they call him the Kraken. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just the way it is in D.C. It really is. People really don't want change because if they did, they would probably vote for a different party than the one that's been in office. ISIS versus ISIL. Are they still the JV team, man?
Well, first things first, I refuse to refer to them as either ISIS or ISIL because doing so legitimizes them by giving them a geographical reference to Syria, Iraq, and or the Levant.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to talk to me about this group of crazy goat herders, let's refer to them by the majority of Daesh, and then we can start from there. But no, honestly, JV, varsity, it doesn't matter. If this guy, in Orlando, wasn't directed, or if he was a lone wolf, or if he was a sympathizer, I don't care. If you come, anyone who comes into the United States and kills American citizens, even if the person committing your crime is a U.S. citizen, I don't care if the people you kill are red, black, green, purple, blue, orange, gay, straight, transgendered, bigendered, quadgendered. If they are American citizens, we should take whoever is responsible out, period, end discussion, no apologies.
Bingo. Well said, sir. Well said, sir. Now, you show up on Radio 1 or home to, or News 1, forgive me, home to the Ascot man, Roland Martin. And what were the thoughts of the people on News 1, on Radio 1 or his show, Roland Martin, today regarding the Orlando situation?
Well, they're trying, a lot of liberals are trying to say, well, it may not have been, Islamic terrorism. It could have been some guy who was just confused about his sexuality. And so, he struck out because, he was ashamed of what he was. And, this was just a psychological reaction. It's like, look, I'm going to take the man at his word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He said he called 9/11. He called the newspapers. He said, I'm doing this, and this is why I'm doing it. Now, unless you can prove to me something to the otherwise, I'm going to believe what the person said as they were doing it. This fool was in the club, according to witnesses that were in the club who survived, shouting as he killed people, Allahu Akbar.
Yep.
He was not in there shouting, I'm ashamed to be a homosexual.
Nope.
So as far as I'm concerned, until I see concrete evidence to the contrary, he was an American citizen who was radicalized, however he was radicalized, but also people need to understand that his father is no saint either.
Thank you.
His father, an Afghan national, also hates America. And it is a direct result of his father's relationship with the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton's State Department that shut down the investigation of the mosque that this guy, that Mateen, was attending in Florida, which allowed him to continue doing what he was supposed to do. So you see, there's a whole lot of stuff going on here that people aren't talking about. How did Mateen's father rate meetings in Washington, D.C., in the White House, and in the State Department?
There you go. There you go. And we've been saying this for a long time period. With Keith Edison being a congressman and bringing Al-Qaeda representatives to the Congress, this is the nefariousness of this particular administration and the ilk that they simply don't detest Al-Qaeda or ISIS. In fact, they adore them. That they are anti-American and thus they are part of the team. They are Team Democrat. Being a Democrat means you hate America, you hate the Constitution. It's just that simple. So any ally that will come along the side is a winning team.
But also, one of the first things that anyone is taught is if you are facing an issue, if you are facing a problem, if you have something that you need to overcome, the first thing that you need to do in order to deal with that situation is identify the problem. If I'm an alcoholic, I need to identify the fact that alcohol is the problem. If I am a heroin addict, I need to admit that heroin is the problem. If the problem that we're facing is Islamic terrorism, and the administration refuses to even use the term Islamic terrorism, they will never be able to adequately deal with the problem because they first refuse to recognize the problem.
But wait a minute. What difference does it make using that term? You can say radical jihadists, radical Islamists. What difference does it make using those terms? We know who the enemy is, right?
Talk to anybody who's involved in any sort of psychology, and the first thing that they will tell you is that in order to deal with the problem, the first thing you have to do is be honest with yourself and acknowledge what the problem is. And if you never acknowledge what the problem is, you will never be able to adequately deal with the problem.
Now, some people who are inadequately dealing with the problem are yelling for gun control. You find that on the left, but you also find that with a presidential candidate who happens to be on the right. And we talked about this earlier. Your thoughts on Donald Trump going to the NRA and asking for allegiance on gun control?
I was on a good friend of our show about a month ago, Lonnie Poindexter. And I said on his show a month ago that come November, the choice that we are going to be faced with is a choice between two New York liberals.
And we got it.
There you have my answer.
There you go. We got it. Ladies and gentlemen, were you at all? No, we're about 4 weeks away from the we're 4 weeks away from the RNC convention. Were you shocked that he would come out for gun control before the convention?
Why shouldn't he? He's got nothing to lose. I mean, unless the Rules Committee for the RNC really rewrite the rules, there is no way for him not to get the nomination on the first round of balloting. I mean, they would really have to rewrite the rules completely to allow delegates not to vote for Trump on the first round in order for him not to get the nomination. Now, Donald Trump and the RNC, they both know that if the RNC rewrites the rules, it is in essence to game the system to prevent him from getting a nomination. The Trumpeteers are going to burn Cleveland to the ground.
That's right. That is so right. They will. We're talking with Ralph Chittams. We have released the Kraken for the evening. Want to deal with one other issue as we go forward, and it's a very sincere issue. There are many Americans right now who heard the clip today of Donald Trump preparing to meet with the NRA later on this week to try to convince them for a second time. This isn't the first rodeo. This is his second time meeting with them to convince them to shy away from the Second Amendment. And I bet you he's eventually going to speak with the gun owners of America and try to convince them also to shy away from the Second Amendment. And just giving a little bit here on the no-fly zone. Want to ask you, sir, are you comfortable with a bureaucrat choosing who's on the no-fly zone? And then secondly, is that reason enough for men to give up their birthrights?
Well, no. Using the no-fly list as a pretext of taking someone's Second Amendment gun rights away is a farce. Because all you have to do is go on the internet and you will see story after story of people who have been placed on the no-fly list incorrectly. We have U.S. senators that have been placed on the no-fly list. Heck, my wife, who spent time in Africa doing Christian missionary work in Burkina Faso, which at the time was just becoming a hotbed for Al-Qaeda, could wind up being on the no-fly list simply because she was in that region of the world. And once you're put on the no-fly list, it takes almost an act of God to get you removed from that no-fly list. So no, using the no-fly list as a mechanism to determine who can or cannot exercise their Second Amendment gun rights is just an easy way for the government to wholesale put names of people on a no-fly list and then subsequently deny them their Second Amendment gun rights. No, that is not a good system to use to determine who can and cannot exercise their gun rights.
I want to tell everyone how easy it is for the government to do such a thing, put out a list. You understand that when you vote, your vote is a public record. Just last week, a week before the election, the district government put out the list of every single voter in the District of Columbia, along with their names, addresses, and what political party they joined. And in addition, I hit it wrong button on my computer. All right. In addition to that, they show what political party. So if you think that they won't put your list out there, your name out there for an owner of a gun, you got another thing coming. I want to ask you a finality, sir, because we're coming to the end, and Shannon Wright's coming up right behind you. This is just a big, big night. RNC's 4 weeks away. What hope do Americans have at this level, because they put their full faith and confidence in the Trumpster being everything that they wanted him to be, and now he's talking gun control? Is there still hope at the congressional level that we can change things?
There's always hope, at the congressional level. But see, the problem that people have made is they have put their trust in man, and they have put their trust in politics. And, as a man of faith, I know that, my trust has to be in God, because the word tells me, don't trust in men, don't trust in horses. Our hope has to be built on Jesus Christ, his blood, his righteousness. And truthfully, this nation is in the state that it's in right now because those of us who are believers, who are the body of Christ, we have turned away from the faith. We have turned away from God. We have become an idolatrous and a wicked nation. And until we turn back to God, until we repent, until we ask for forgiveness, until we fall on our face, and until we repent from our wicked ways, nothing in this country is going to change. So is there hope? Yes. But the hope has to start with the body of Christ, with us regaining our righteousness, returning to God, returning to a righteous way of living, and then and only then will this country have a chance of reclaiming its greatness.
Well said, sir. Listen, I got one other question for you because it came from the chat roll. It's Dave. Dave says, please ask Ralph about the list of proposed ISIS targets. 8,000 Americans are on that list. Should we get to see that list?
Anybody who's affiliated with ISIS needs to be taken out, period. End of discussion. One of the biggest mistakes we ever made was this embedded journalism nonsense with military units. See, there's some stuff that you have to do in a war zone that nobody needs to know about. There's some things that military units have to do that civilians can't stomach. There are some things that a nation has to do to protect itself that the press doesn't need to report about, but all those things need to be done in order for a nation to remain secure.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why they call him the Kraken. We would put the Kraken back in after releasing them tonight. Ralph, how do people get in contact with you to help in terms of these dire times?
I'm on social media, Facebook and Twitter, RJCHITTAMSSR, Ralph J. Chittams Sr. Facebook and Twitter, follow me, friend me, we can have a good chat.
God bless you, sir. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
God bless you.
Coming up after the Kraken, Shannon Wright takes center stage. We'll be right back.
From day's first light till night's last glimmer, your satisfaction is our responsibility. On the range or in the field of duty, you can rely on Brown Hill's lifetime guaranteed gun parts, tools, and supplies. Anytime, any place. It's how we've done business since 1939. Brown Hills.
Hey everybody, it's Kristen. I'm here to review women's spirits made by dogs. I love these shoes. I am an FM sufferer, so finding shoes that don't make my feet hurt is very tough. These don't make my feet hurt. I've tried Pumas, I've tried Nikes. Nikes are pretty good. Pumas I can't wear. They hurt my feet too much. I mean, it's to the point to where my feet hurt so bad to where I can't even walk. So I was so happy whenever I was contacted to review the new dogs. I love these dogs. I love these things. My feet don't hurt when I wear them. They got the holes in them to keep my feet cool. They got massaging bumpies inside. Feels like you're walking on little things of foam. I mean, like, it's just awesome. I just love it. The heel is a deep well down in your heel, and it protects. It's a shock absorber. So if you're running in them or jumping in them, like if you're on a chair and you have to jump in them, it absorbs the shock. What else? And then it's a higher thing back here for your heel. So it's like a really high thing that protects your ankle from when you're running, so there's no injuries, so it doesn't cause injuries. It's Velcro, so it's very easy to tighten your shoe, so whenever you're running, your shoe won't fall off when you're trying to run. I love these shoes, and I hope you guys really appreciate this review, and there will be pictures at the end, like always. But I wish you would guys go check them out. These women's spirits are $40. There's a whole bunch of other kind of shoes that you can purchase as well. There are children's shoes, toddler shoes, infant shoes, men's shoes, women's shoes. Anything you can think of, they got it. And they're pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you next time.
From coast to coast, there is one bank focused on building a better future. One bank with programs you can trust to help boost your economic picture. One United Bank. With rates better than the national average, no hidden fees, and even cashback debit cards, you'll feel the boost in your budget. One United Bank, the premier bank for urban communities in Boston, Miami, and Los Angeles. Visit us at oneunited.com or call 877-1UNITED today. Member FDIC.
I've seen a lot of places, I've been around the world. I've seen some pretty places, been with some beautiful girls. After all I witnessed, one thing still amazes me. Just like a miracle, you have to see to believe. Texas with his own hand.
God bless Texas.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, live from Washington, D.C., it is the Exceptional Conservative Show. Coming up, Shannon gets it right. Shannon Wright takes to the stage. And this is Sackheads Radio Night, so please make certain while you're listening to us on internet radio, go ahead, pull up your browser, and click on or type in at Google SHR Media. Bring that bad boy right on up, or go to High Plains Pundit Media and click on SHR Media, because at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint take the helm, and they bring you the most fun, it is the most entertaining conservative talk in the world. Yes, Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, SHR Media tonight at 11 p.m.
God bless Texas. God bless Texas. God bless Texas. I've been sent to spread the message. God bless Texas.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, God bless Texas. God bless America. Wherever you are in the world, may God bless you. We are live from Washington, D.C. I am having the most fun of my entire life. Freedom is right around the corner. I want you all to do me a great favor. We're just a few minutes away from speaking with Shannon Wright, who will take center stage. But some of you all might note, and I hope Jersey Joe follows my lead on this. Some of you all might note the number of advertisers that are just falling in love with the Exceptional Conservative Show all of a sudden. Dogs, if you go to the front page of the Exceptional Conservative Show, it's the exceptionalconservativeshow.com. It's the homepage. And you know what? I'll put that in the chat room, because I would love you all to come. That's the kind of guy I am. You know, I'm a pretty easygoing guy. But one of the problems with this particular ministry is that it is firmly, and I do believe with all my heart and soul that it should be, upon my shoulders to make it happen. And I know that God uses many hands to make it come to pass. Amen, Joseph. Amen. But I want you all to do me a great favor. Now, I know some of you all shop on Amazon. Well, do me a great favor. Just click on Amazon at my site and shop. That way I can keep this radio program going on and on. Then there's USA Dogs, which I hope I will see out in Las Vegas. I'm going to get in contact with them this week. USA Dogs, it is a foot's best friend. If you use code GGA40 tonight, or any day, in fact, but GGA40 is my code, you get 40% off your first purchase. Then there is Law Depot. You get a free last will and testament. You get some of the best legal documents around. They are comparable to what you would pay a highfalutin K Street attorney to do for you. Right there, Law Depot. Right there. You can just click on Start now and get your last will and testament together. I know my wife told me I need to get mine together. I'm getting bigger, so I got to get my britches together. Then, of course, Christian Book, which I have been using for virtually all of my adult life since I returned to Christ. It is the largest selection of Christian books, Bibles, gifts, music, and resources. Everything Christian for less. Christian book distribution. Go there. It's on the front page. And it's throughout actually all the pages, but go to the front page. You can get all the stuff that you need. You can click right on there. And then, of course, my favorite. Yes, it is my favorite. And I want to thank the good people at Brownells. They are a family institution, over 75 years in the business of self-defense. Brownells is there. You can get your self-defense weapons, tools, however way you wish to say it, but you can protect your family and yourself and your property. Go to Brownells today. Do it right through my website. And then finally, today, a new advertiser joined us, Unity Visa. It is a secured credit card. And let me just explain this to you. All you need to do is put $250 in, use the code UGET25, UGET25, keep the account open for 90 days, and you will get a $25 credit towards your account. It is one of the best ways, and as a counselor for those who are trying to get their financial lives in order during the day when I'm not wearing my Superman cape at night, it is one of the best ways to secure your future, to get yourself back in financial good graces. The Unity Visa Secure Card is one of the best ways to do that. Spread the news. God loves Texas, but he also loves you, and he wants you to get your financial life together. Get the Unity Visa Secure Card. Go directly to our front page, and you can order it tonight, in fact. So instead of waiting for Capital One or some of the others, Visa or Wells Fargo to come by and say, hey, guess what? We want to give you a card. Don't do that. Get your financial life together. Start with a secure credit card, and then from there, since they report to all three, you'll be ready to rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I wanted to give you a woman of great spirit, of great hope, and of great promise. She is none other than Shannon Wright, and she is a young woman who is running for City Council President in Charm City, better known as B More. Bring her up. One ringy dingy, two ringy dingies. I hope I mentioned all my advertisers. I don't want to leave any out. I'll hear about it. Calling one ringy dingy, two ringy dingy. Good evening. It is Shannon Wright. Shannon takes center stage. It is so good to have you on the air with us tonight on Sackheads Radio Night. How are you doing, young lady?
I am well, thank you, and I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you.
I'm glad. Yeah.
You know, your voice is really getting much better. You sounded like you sounded like Barry White last week, so this is good. This is good.
I am making progress. It's funny. The last couple of days have been some of the first ones really, back on the campaign trail. So my voice is, by the end of the day, it's like, okay, what are you doing? Stop talking.
See, you were waiting for me to put my foot in my mouth and make a response, but I'm not.
Nope. I'm looking for any such thing. Thank you.
Shannon Wright takes center stage tonight. Shannon, how can people support you in your campaign? Let's get that out of the way first. Besides going to our info page and clicking on your link there.
Well, there's that. My website is wrightformaryland.com. My Facebook is Shannon Wright for Baltimore. We also have Wright for Maryland at Facebook. My Twitter is letter P, letter S, letter W, the number 4, the letter U. I am all over the place, and email wrightformaryland@gmail.com.
There you go. Now,
matter of fact, on Facebook, we have launched a money bond as our latest fundraising endeavor, because I don't know how closely your listeners follow things in Baltimore, but there's a whole bunch going on with these developers and development deals, and folks are really kind of pleased with some of the deals and the perks that are being swept under the carpet by the city council and city hall. So I am making a conscious effort not to take funding from developers or those that will have more strings than I can see or count come this November.
Well, wait a minute. Developers are good people. Come on. Look, they're only trying to spread the wealth and redistribute it amongst their peers. Oh, come on. Shannon, well, we know right now that you wouldn't be the kind of person that would give a 100% deal to a very wealthy businessman who wants to build a stadium or arena in an impoverished neighborhood. We know that you wouldn't want the state or the city to pay for that in full, would you?
No, I don't think we want to go that route.
Listen, Shannon, I want to bring up some good news first about the Charm City. As always, Washington is always much better than Baltimore. But
you are humorous, aren't you?
Phillip Edison gives us great hope for Charm City, the young man. Tell us about Phillip Edison.
Well, there's a couple of things that give us a little bit of hope for Charm City. When you look at the struggles, it's kind of funny in a twisted kind of way. It's almost like Baltimore is going through its own civil war with the battle of the mayor's office and the council.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. I don't know how many folks really follow these sort of things, but it is a prime example of election cycle grandstanding, and it's one of the best examples that you're going to find.
Okay.
You have all of the city council members that are up for re-election.
Mm-hmm.
You have a mayor that's not running again. So when you look at that dynamic, you recognize that the folks that are running again are the ones that didn't get beat in the primary and that are not retiring are really looking to save their jobs.
Yeah.
So you have city council saying, well, we're not going to approve this budget. We're not going to allow this because the mayor took this money away from our kids. And we're going to shut down the city until the mayor says she's going to give this money back. This is how this all started. So that sounds good on the surface, except for the fact that we have a July 1st deadline for approving the budget. And if the city were to shut down, let's follow this for a second. If the city shuts down, if there's no budget and there's no money, that means that the kids that you're, quote, fighting for in the media, because you want to be looked at as such great people, will no longer have any funding for any programs, no public safety, all of the time when summer is starting and all these kids are going to be on the street and in the city and roaming around with nothing to do. So that kind of sounds the exact opposite of being for the people and for the kids, as you want to claim that you are. So when you hear these things and you get these sound bites, you really gotta kind of look and read between the lines and understand what it is and how it really impacts the town and the community that you live in. If you look at Baltimore as an example, this is some grandstanding in a grand scheme.
Now, I want to ask you in this regard, financially, does the city have the wherewithal to go through with all of the promises that they've made to noble promises that they always seem to make during the election year, but can't seem to follow up on during the rest of the year? Do they have the fiscal wherewithal?
Does who have the what?
Do they got the money to pay for that stuff?
Wait. Let me clarify that. That was the who have the what. Wasn't because I didn't hear you. It was we're talking about Baltimore.
You know, it's true. Electors, those who elect, receive more promises than they will ever receive financial help from government, not unless they actually are getting a development kickback. Not talk. Hey, and I want to say to Ralph, I did not raise the idea that maybe there should be an ethics investigation on a certain council member. Didn't say it. But
well, you want to hear something funny?
Sure.
When you talk about an ethics investigation on city council, it appears that in Baltimore, and it's been quietly put in the news, that the city council has been asked to investigate the Board of Elections.
Oh my God. So let me get this straight. The Wolves are asking the Dobermans to investigate the Wolves. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We see where this is going.
It should be, matter of fact, I am just on a roll tonight, so I'm going to put it out there. Tomorrow night is the Baltimore City GOP monthly Central Committee meeting.
Okay.
Our guest speaker is chairwoman from the Board of Elections. And she's attending our meeting to take any and all questions that the voters have in regards to what happened in Baltimore during the primary and how to fix it, how to make sure it doesn't happen again, and what are the plans for the general election. It's a public meeting, just putting it out there.
What time is that public meeting?
6:30.
And where is that public meeting being held?
It is being held at Public Library, the Park Branch.
So it's not going to be held at the Enoch Pratt Public Library because that looks like it's going to close. But it will be held. I'm not saying anything.
It's actually the Patterson Park branch of the Enoch Pratt Library.
Oh, okay.
And it's at 6 p.m. So that should prove to be very interesting.
That should be very interesting. A lot of us want to know exactly how boxes of votes show up after the count and get counted. I just want to know. I'm an inquisitive person.
Well, I figure that the boxes of votes showing up is to replace the memory sticks of data disappearing.
See, okay. That's how it works.
I'm thinking that must be how it works. See, I'm just saying. I think, I think that's how it works.
It probably is because I get confused about that sometimes, and sometimes votes get lost and then they're found. I want to ask you real quick, serious issue in Baltimore. The police chief, the city schools police chief, resigned today. Marshal Toby Goodwin. He resigned. Can you tell everyone why he resigned and what Baltimore should do to replace and protect the children?
I would like to say that I can speculate and answer that, but I think that would do an injustice for me to do that. There are a lot of safety issues, and this is not something that many folks that either are elected or are trying to be elected would say, because it can bite you either way. But there really are a lot of public safety issues in these school buildings, from the lead in the pipes, so that the water fountains are actually the pipes broken so that the kids can't drink the water. That it's the same water from the same pipes that's used in the cafeteria where they eat lunch every day. You've got asbestos in the buildings. You've got lead in the paint on the walls in the buildings. You've got security issues from fighting and gangs. There's a gentleman that I know personally who had an incident with his daughter, one of his kids, and the young lady was in school. They were having let's just say, civics discussion, and the young lady was expressing her right to do or not do something. So one of the young ladies that she was disputing and debating this with accidentally slipped, tripped, and hit her, and oops, the young lady fell, the little girl fell down the stairs.
Wow. Wow.
Ended up in the children's hospital with a head injury.
So
now, I mean, we joke and whatnot, but there's some serious stuff going on in these schools. Now, you would think from that it was high school, but I tell you, it was middle school.
Wow. I want to end on a good note here. Phillip Edison received a citation from the mayor and the EMT chief in Baltimore over the weekend. Apparently, he came to the rescue of a high school senior from who was going to graduate this weekend. This coming weekend. Unfortunately, she was hit by individuals on an ATV. They kept going. He came to her rescue and provided urgent care services for her right there, which probably saved her life. That is the hope. In an era where ATVs and gangs and others have taken root, thanks to the politicians and the Black Lives Matter community, it is very good that there's some hope with guys like Phillip Edison providing an immediate need. We've run out of time, but I want to ask you very quickly, how can people support you in your drive to become the president of the city council in Baltimore?
And if people would be so kind as to go to the website, I'll do a couple of different things. One option is to make a contribution, which we're always happy to get. But another option is send us an email. Let us know if you live in the Baltimore area, if we can put a sign on your lawn. Let us know if, no matter where you are, if you'd like to participate in phone banking. There are some very specific things that campaigns need. They need money and they need volunteers. And either and or both of those would be greatly appreciated.
Awesome. We love you. We thank you. We look forward to you coming back next Wednesday night when Shannon Wright takes center stage. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our program. And I'm encouraging you all to come back here. If you want to shop at the website, you can do so. TheExceptionalConservativeshow.com is the place to be. Coming up at 11 p.m. Eastern time, because I'm well over my time of telling them what's going to be coming up. Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint will be taking center stage with Sackhead Radio. That's SHR Media or High Place Pundit Media live at the SHR Media browser site. Click on it. I'm going to thank you all so much for being with me tonight. Tomorrow night, New Day Black and Red with the professor, Dr. Michael Jones. We take charge and give a spiritual and constitutional viewpoint on the current events of the day. We are certainly not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Democrat. I want to tell you right now that a friend of mine once told me, Ken, always be brave. Don't die a coward. I promise you, I always will. Want you also to know, without a shadow of a doubt, God bless America. It is now time for America to bless God. Good night, and God bless. We will see you tomorrow night on the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital.
Take it downtown. I'm just looking for some touch. I've been good. Now it's taxes. Hollywood. I ain't asking for much. I said, Lord, take me downtown. I'm just looking for some touch.